What's up, all my folks out in YouTube land? Daryl, also known as the Finisher. This video is necessary, but I don't want to think customers. This is kind of like what we need to do. We need to get a better relationship between contractors, handyman, and customers, right? There are certain things that are not understood on each side, right? I go in. I'm the guy. I go in a lot of times in my videos on contractors, and I have conversations with new and upcoming contractors or people that are already doing it and people that are like-minded about, you know, the respect you gotta have for the customer and the property and professionalism. And I go hard on professionalism, did videos about it and everything. But sometimes it's not the contractor side. It's the customer side that's the problem. Now, I was a customer way longer than I was a contractor, so I'm on your side too. I mean, I'm playing both sides of the fence. Well, so I'm on your side too. But there are certain things that I got into this field and I realized that, man, we got to do better as customers sometimes. We're going to go through things from a contractor's perspective that will help the customer's relationship with their contractor, all right? And we're just going to have a little fun with it, okay? So let's go. All right, number one, and like I said, this is not in order ranked from number 1 to 10 in order of magnitude, but this is a big one, okay? Prices vary. And it doesn't matter what business it is, doesn't matter what you're doing, prices are just different, right? From one place to the next. If my price is different than another guy's price, it doesn't mean that I'm ripping you off. It might be that the other guy's price is terrible. Like, it doesn't, you know, so there's no monolith, there's no thing that says, all right, everybody's price should be the same. If this guy charges this for this install, then everybody across the board should charge the exact same thing. That's just not how it works, because in reality of business, we all have different overhead, right? Some guys have multiple employees. Some guys are starting out, they have a higher equipment cost. Some guys are driving a lot more and you know, their equipment and gas. Some guys specialize in certain things where it's a lot of maintenance costs and all this. There's just different things. You know, somebody like me, I got enough tools to build a house, but if I was the painter, I wouldn't need all these tools, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to do in business that make our prices different. And you definitely can't hire Earl and them from up the street, and then you get work done where, you know, Earl's using your tools and Earl and the homies, everybody's using all your stuff and they're using your ladder and they getting dust and things all over the place. And I mean, and then Earl charged you a price. I literally had a customer, a customer that had a guy that they had to get rid of him because he had issues and he had all kinds of problems. And then when I gave them a price on something I was gonna do, she told me about what the last guy's price was. But I'm like, but you just fired him. Yeah, I charge more than he does, but he's not good enough to finish your job, but you still want his prices. It's crazy. So our prices vary. It's not, doesn't mean I'm trying to rip you off. It just means that I know what it takes to do the job, and that's just it. You know what I mean? And that takes us into number 2. We can't charge prices based off of emotions. We just can't do it, right? So, you know, we've all been through it where, you know, you give somebody a price and a customer says, I had a customer recently just tell me like, yeah, we just, you know, we looked over everything and we feel like the price is too high. I'm like, what does feelings got to do with it? I mean, my price, I didn't base anything off of feelings. You know what I mean? My price is based off of fact. And math equations and science.
Yes, science.
All right, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't no trig involved and nothing like that, but I'm just saying it's based on a whole lot of information and history and knowledge of me doing the job, experience. And then somebody tells me that, well, tell me about what they feel the price should be though. And it seemed like the only time people feelings get involved are when the prices, when the prices are higher than they want it to be. You know what I mean? Like when the prices are low and their feelings, you feel good about it and everybody's happy until somebody, like I said, until Earl and them mess the whole job up. I just want you to understand that, you know, that has nothing to do with it. You know, I'm gonna quote you fairly, and it just is what it is based on my company and the things that I need to do to get the job done. The crazy part is it'll be somebody that has a whole lot of money and then they approach it just like this.
How much for an order of ribs?
$250.
Let me get one.
Right on. One order. One order ribs.
No. One rib. You got change for 100?
It's crazy, right? Number 3, handyman, contractors, all sorts of contractors, we get got too. So, you know, when people don't want to pay deposits because they think it's something shady or they paid somebody and somebody took their money, well, you got to think of also we have the other way around where we've done jobs. A lot of us have done jobs and didn't get paid in the end. And so for us to protect ourselves and our business, we got to get a deposit. I mean, you really got to think about it. I don't know. There's not really a lot of worlds where you can get a whole service done, get somebody to go and buy all your stuff, get a whole service done. You don't pay nothing until the end, until the work's all completed and everything's finished. It's different with different services. You know what? They do that when you go to a mechanic. Yeah, mechanic will call you and say, hey, well, you want us to go ahead and do these repairs and whatever. But the difference is they have your car. You know what I mean? They have some kind of collateral. Somebody's, people like us, we don't have anything. And we also have to buy the materials. And I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, they're your materials. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I'm gonna build your deck, like I'm not building my deck, I'm building your deck, right? And this is your wood. So you kind of got to pay for your own stuff. I mean, there might be companies that are big enough to float it. You know, like I said, they're new construction. They got banks backing them and things like that. They can build a house, and then you pay your little earnest money up front, and then they go ahead and build a whole house for you only gave them $1,000, and they built a whole house. But the difference is that when they're done, if the deal falls through, they have a house to sell. We have nothing. So don't be offended if somebody asks you for a deposit. All right, y'all. Reality is this next one is probably gonna have all the handyman and contractors out here dancing in unison. Like the estimate collectors. There's a group of people, they're estimate collectors. They're ruining things for everybody. All right? Because you have people out here just frivolously collecting estimates like it's a hobby. Somebody is getting 5, 6, 7, 8 estimates and never getting any work done, right? They just never getting any work done. I don't know how many times I had a customer one time, and I say customer loosely because I mean a lot of these people are people who aren't even customers. They potentially could be, but I've had people who say they had an insurance claim. Insurance claim says you got to get 3 estimates, so they called me. Okay, I didn't know I didn't have the job already before I went, but I went, did the estimate on redoing a bathroom, not knowing I had no shot because they already picked a guy to do it. They were just getting 3 estimates because that's what the insurance company said. Then they had a leak like 6 months later. Called me up to come do the estimate for the leak. Didn't say nothing. It just wanted me to give them another estimate for the insurance. And it's just like, y'all ever heard the term, there's no such thing as a free lunch? The book and everything, it's just somebody at some point, somewhere has paid for that estimate, right? Has paid for me to be able to drive out to the house and take this hour or however long I gotta take to do an estimate. It ain't free. It's not free for a contractor to do an estimate, right? But people are abusing the system so much now that, it's getting to the point where a lot of people, are trying to do virtual estimates. I do a lot of those. I do a lot of where I've done so much drywall repair that just send me a picture. And if it's on the ceiling or somewhere, I'm like, hold something up. Hold something next to the drywall so I can get a reference of how large it is. And I can base the estimate off that. I'm not coming out to your house if I don't have to. Or if it's a large estimate, I have to charge. And you got a lot of contractors or handymen that are starting to charge for estimates because the system is getting abused. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I just want y'all to understand that you got a bunch of people, you might not be one of them, right? They're estimate collectors. And that's what they do. It's a hobby. And they're killing us out here. So if you get somebody, you call and they say they charge for estimates, I don't even advertise free estimates. Like I think that's crazy. But you do what you got to do, contractor. But for the customers, just understand why it's getting to the point where people are charging even for estimates now. All right, this next one, it's just the truth, right? It's just the truth in business. It's just how it is. If you're not an investor, right, you have paid no money in the stocks or anything like that. You didn't help start the company. You don't have partial ownership. You don't have a right to request the books for the company. Like this seems like the only business where I go to I give you an estimate to do a job, or some people wait until they get the invoice and then they say, oh, they want to see a breakdown of all the costs. A breakdown of, what do you mean? What do you mean a breakdown of all the costs? You mean like when you went and bought that shirt? When you went and bought that shirt from Kohl's, how they broke the price down for you on the receipt? I just don't remember the last time I seen that. Who breaks the price down for what? Like, what do you mean? The price is broken down on the estimate. And I do say, contractors, you got to make sure your estimates are very thorough. So I'll go over that one of these days with y'all, man. We'll go into the details of the estimates, but step by step, as far as what you're going to be doing and lay everything out perfectly. But that's it. Like, as far as the books, because like I said, my costs are different than another company's costs. So what? I mean, I'm not going to break down what the amount of fuel that I used, the amount of time I was at the store picking up the materials, like all the different things that go into running a business. I need to break it down to give it to you now, come on. That's just not realistic. You don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, you go get a steak. Do you break down how much the steak costs? Or do you demand a breakdown from the restaurant? How much the steak, man? Where's all the money for the steak going? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into pricing that's built in. It's not just materials and labor. Like, it's not just that, or what goes into a labor price, or versus it's not just that simple as, well, this guy was here 2 hours. It's not that simple. Everything is built into those prices. Like, your whole business is ran off of that. So, for instance, if you go to Papa John's and get a pizza, within the cost of that pizza is everything from all those employees you see, to the lights being on in the building, to the material that it takes to clean that restaurant, to to when they have to repair an oven that breaks. All those things are in that cost of that pizza. I can't break that down to you in a way that you're happy, that you'll either understand or you're just happy about. It's just not fair to ask a contractor to break down all that information to you in order to get a job. It's just either you want the service or you don't, either you agree with the price or you don't. And you'll have a much better working relationship and build more trust with each other if you can start getting your mind wrapped around that. All right, y'all. This is one, I don't know how many times I done dealt with this. I go to somebody's house, they'll want some paint done or want something done. It might be a ceiling fan or just whatever it is. And I go in and there's an obstacle course, man. People got stuff everywhere, bookcases, knickknacks, got stuff all over the place. And I'm supposed to go in here and play like Home Improvement Ninja Warrior. That, I can't do that. I've had it in the past and I accepted it when I first started because I didn't know any better. I'm like, man, they got stuff everywhere. And I tipped a lamp over like in the corner because the floor was covered with stuff and I'm trying to paint the ceiling and I'm dancing around trying to, maneuver. I mean, I told you I got cat-like reflexes. So, it's not, I can get it done, but that's not the point. I knocked over a little lamp in the room and then they're asking me, well, what are we going to do about the lamp? Move it. You're supposed to move the lamp. You're supposed to move all this stuff. Understand, as a guy coming into work, you hire me to do some painting or do some drywall or do whatever kind of work I'm supposed to be doing. You didn't hire me to be a mover too. So the idea that, I'm supposed to move all your furniture, move all your stuff, and then something breaks and all of a sudden I'm liable to pay for something that has nothing to do with the job that I'm doing? Come on. It's a lot of this business stuff is about liability. And on the contractor, handyman, on this side of the fence, we can't start being liable for things that have nothing to do with the job that we're doing. No more handyman ninja warrior, all right? Let's move on. Let's get that stuff out the way. All right, next on the list, extra work is extra work. It's not included within the scope of the job. So if you need me to do something that's not included in the scope of the job, I can not do it, or you can pay me more to do it, and that's how it actually should be. If I'm deciding to do something to be nice, then that's just something I'm deciding to do. It's not something I have to do. Now, what I say is, now after all this time I've been in business, that most of the time when somebody wants to add something on, you gotta charge them for it. You gotta let them know how much it's gonna cost to do that job. You can be nice if you want to, as a contractor, but customers gotta understand that this is extra. You don't just get to add on extra work to the estimate and then somebody does it, you like, oh, well, I didn't know you were gonna charge me for it. Well, I charge you for all the other work. Why wouldn't I charge you for that work? A lot of times the contractor takes that as you're just plotting on them. And some of y'all are, where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna give them all this work, but I'm gonna save this stuff over here. And when they get here, I'm just gonna ask them to see if they can do that on the side, because I don't wanna pay for that. It's more work than you think. And I don't really wanna do it for free, because if something goes wrong or something goes left, then all of a sudden now I'm liable for something I'm not even getting paid to do. And I don't think that's fair. That's just not fair to the contractor, not fair to the handyman. So just understand that if it's on the estimate or the proposal or whatever it is, then that's what they're there to do. But if you're adding something on, I don't care how little it is, then you have to understand that that contractor might charge you for that, and he's 100% correct in doing so. Okay, let me tell you, the worst way to start out the relationship with your handyman/contractor is to use the phrase, well, all you have to do is, man, you say that, I'm telling you, it's like my brain goes into the automatic like airplane mode. After that's all I'm thinking. It's like it just shuts down. Because I'm thinking like, okay, this is a waste of my time, because they just think this is some simple little job. I had a guy tell me that about a door one time, installing a door. They had a door slab. Oh, hinges need to be routed out. He was like, well, all you have to do is route out the hinges. I mean, it's easy. I just don't feel like doing it. So what does that mean? I'm supposed to just, oh, well, you know what? You're right. I guess if I owned the tool to do it, and I got the little other tools to get the job done right, I guess it'll be easy for me to do it because I got all the tools, right? And then I drive out to your house, and then I do your job for you, and then you don't, I guess I'm not supposed to make much, because all I had to do was put hinges on. Just put the, route them out and put the hinges on the door. I mean, what's that mean? Look, it's just best to just stay away from using that phrase, because some job that, I don't care if you watched YouTube, I don't care what you did and how many videos you've seen on it, it ain't always as easy as you think it is. I don't know how many people that, they have the piece of siding that blows off of their house way up in the second story in the eave, and they's like, yeah, just a piece of siding, I just need that put back. I mean, all you gotta do is just put one piece of siding back, that's it. One piece, you see how far up that is? That ain't just putting up one piece of siding, that's risking my life to put up one piece of siding. There's a difference. So you can't just use that phrase. I just say stay away from it. We can't start minimizing it from the start, because we all understand when we hear it, it's a trigger. It's an automatic trigger, like, okay, they want the lowest price possible. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? That sounds like a job for Earl and them, because I can't help you. Last but definitely not least, just understand that we are running a business so we can be closed. Sometimes our hours are hours, we're closed. And, I wasn't as firm on that back when I first started. I mean, just because, you gotta be open to whatever. If you're trying to eat, you gotta live, you got kids to feed and a family, you gotta do what you gotta do. But realistically, you're running a business, you gotta be closed at some point, Now, I do have customers that in an emergency, they can call me whatever. They got the green light. Okay, so, I love them to death, man. They've been with me for years. I just had one not that long ago who their sink started leaking like bad underneath the sink, so they had to shut the water off to the house. And, they didn't have any water at the time. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I most likely have whatever it needs to fix. I got all kind of plumbing supplies and stuff. So I'll go in there, and I went over there and fixed it. But for the most part, I've had customers, people that don't know me. That never use my business, don't know nothing. Or send me a text on a Saturday night at like 10 o'clock. Bruh. And then I call them back on Monday morning. They like, yeah, I got your message. Oh, yeah, I called you. Yeah, that was a couple days ago, but I mean, okay. Yeah, a couple days ago, over the weekend, I'm not open. I didn't realize that I'm not your beckon and call for, whatever you feel like calling. I think you're mixing up the relationship here. You know what I'm saying? That's always my thought. It's like, I'm not your man, I'm your contractor. But even in that situation, I'm not even your contractor. It really reminds me of a situation I had when I was really young with a nice young lady that we exchanged numbers. And then that night I went out to the movies with a friend of mine, my homegirl. And then I got home that night. This is the first, I never met her in my life. I called her that night. It was like, I don't know. It was like 12:30 in the morning, man. Cause I was just like that. And she answered the phone. She was like, oh yeah, I thought I saw you earlier, but it couldn't have been you because you had a girl in the car. I was like, what? I don't know you. So how could there be any expectations of what our relationship is supposed to be? You can't just call me anytime or have expectations yet. We don't know each other. Well, there it is, and there you have it. That information right there should get this season kicked off, and you get your contractor, and y'all can have a beautiful season and get many projects done, and hopefully the relationship goes on for years and years and years. I get it from the customer side. You're going in, you don't know these people, they're charging a lot of money, you don't know what to think, but hopefully some of these things can get you a better understanding of where their mind is. All right, so Daryl, also known as the finisher. Stay safe, be blessed, and remember, if the trades don't work, nothing else does.